Good morning, everyone. I hope you're having an amazing day today. Aaron and I have been getting the question, is it awkward that we are not that far in age from Jamie and from some of our kids? And the answer is no, it is not awkward. But I think to better explain this, we kind of have to give you a timeline of when each kid and what their ages were when they came into our home, and for it to kind of make more sense. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Thank you, MGA Entertainment, for sponsoring this video. Today we're super excited to kind of draw out our family and how this all came together. Guys, it was really complicated, and we've had a lot of kids come in and out with being foster parents. Over 34 kids. So some dates may be a little confusing, but we're going to do our best. So I made notes just so that I can keep it all straight in my head. But okay, we're going to start with the very beginning, and that is Hallie. Hallie is technically our first child. And when she was born, I was 18, and you were, I wrote it all down, 22. And when Hallie came into the picture, I mean, she's the one that made us parents, and we were so grateful for her. She is such a sweet personality, and we make the joke all the time that she was such a good baby that she made us want 20 kids. But I don't know, so she came in 2004. I do have a whiteboard here. I might draw along the way, but I might end up not. But just know, Hallie, but even though she came first, she is now a middle child. I know it's super confusing, but it all makes sense in just a few minutes. So we had Hallie, I was 18 years old. Fast forward 2 years and Max was born, and Max came when I was 20 and he was 24. And he was a little spitball. I mean, I don't know how to describe it. As a child, Max was just full of energy, like just randomly screaming and having fun, and like he brought so much life to our family. And he challenged Hallie along the way. I'm going to tell you a quick side story real quick. So I had them both in a little like preschool program together. And they called me one day and they were like, oh my gosh, Hallie got bit today at school. And I was like, oh my gosh, is she okay? And they're like, yeah, she's okay. We iced it, we bandaged it, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, cool. And they're like, now we got to talk to you about your other kid. And I was like, Max? And they're like, yeah, so Max bit a child today. I was like, did Max bite Hallie? And they're like, yeah, but we were not supposed to say that. And I'm like, it's in the same family.
They're both my kid.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. But he only ever did that once, guys. Him and Hallie have an amazing bond. And so, yeah. So then that was Max. So we'll put him on our little time frame here. So he was born in 2006. And we'll write his name up here. About like a month ago or so, we got some MGA's Miniverse Make It Mini balls. And the kids were so excited. They were playing with them. They want to collect them all. So we're going to be opening some today, but we have a little twist on them. So they are going to open them and they are going to create oh my gosh, anything mini is so fun. But then I'm going to create it in real life. Let's see if I can cook whatever you guys open. Aurora's opening the cafe one. The thing I love about MJ's Miniverse is that you can actually make it. And so it's tiny. Oh, what did you get? A watermelon? Oh my goodness. A watermelon bowl. And then it comes with all of the instructions on how to make it.
Let's see. Okay. This is, I think, coffee beans.
Aurora got a watermelon sorbet. Aw, it comes with a little comic and everything with it. Look how fun.
Mommy, guess.
Oh, you got a spoon and little tweezers.
Iced coffee.
Iced coffee.
These ice cubes are actually so cool.
Oh, mini ice cubes.
They look so realistic.
Okay, let's see what I got. It's actually so fun to like open each little thing and be like, what did I get? Sun Fizz. I don't quite know what it is yet.
This is the greatest iced coffee you've ever seen. I did amazing.
Almost give it to you.
These are so fun. I feel like all summer, this is such a fun summer activity for them to collect them all and see what they get. Oh, Aurora's opening the next one.
You got the blue one.
Ooh, blue shaped eyes.
I'm a master. There we go.
Okay, so I was gonna try to make these the ones they got in real life. So first we have the watermelon sorbet. The cool thing about this is I already have sorbet in my freezer. I have a coconut sorbet. It's much more fun when it's mini though. I do wish it was mini. Look at mini versus real life. Aurora got so excited. She kept opening and she got a baked potato with the little sour cream on top. Okay, we're gonna just go ahead and open all the ones we have because they're having too much fun with them.
Spaghetti, Travis.
You think it's spaghetti? These do look like little meatballs.
Spaghetti.
All right, she got a meatball sub sandwich.
I got a smoothie. I'm making a smoothie.
It even goes with Parmesan cheese. You're doing great. Good eye-hand coordination too.
What's good? I'm absolutely the best at creating these things. Look how realistic this smoothie bowl is, like top tier.
That is top tier.
And then also, though, how detailed these things are is actually insane.
It's a little banana slice and a blueberry.
And this.
MG's Miniverse is so much fun! It's gonna be such a fun summer activity to collect them all, and you can too. Click the link in the description box down below. Not just for summertime, really anytime. These are so much fun. Okay, so at this point we have 2 kids, and we are trying so hard to have a third, because I originally wanted 4 kids, he wanted 2. We decided to meet in the middle and have 3, but we could not have 3. We were trying and trying. We did go through like an IVF treatment thing, got pregnant, and then sadly it ended in a miscarriage. And with that, it was a really, really hard time, and it was really difficult. And that's when Aaron came to me. See, this is all his fault. I know people like to say this is mine. No, I'm so incredibly grateful. Not his fault. It's such a blessing. But he had come to me and been like, should we look into adoption and foster care? And I was like, yes, absolutely. I immediately felt good about it. We started all of the classes, and then
the week we started classes, we found out we were pregnant with Logan.
Yeah. And so that's where Logan came in the picture. So I was 25 and he was 29. And so it was 2011. So there was a big age gap, or there was not a huge age gap, but between 2006 and 2011, because that's how long it took us in the process. Real quick, another question we get is why did you start doing foster care? Why did you start adopting? We just told that story of how it came about, but adoption and foster care were always in my heart. I had a child when I was growing up, and I was a teenager at the time.
You had
a friend. Did I say I had a child?
You said you had a child.
I did not have a child. I had a friend. And Shelly and I were talking to him, and it was around Christmas time, and we were kind of going back and forth on like what we wanted for Christmas, and I want this and I want that. And we look over at my friend and we were like, hey, like, you know, what do you want for Christmas? And he's like, I already have everything I ever wanted. And we were like, what do you mean? And he's like, I'm getting adopted this year. And then I found out he was a foster child, and he was a teen boy. And at that time, or even when we were doing foster care and we were actively in it, there are not a lot of homes that take in teens. And so he was so grateful for finding a family, his forever family. And so it was always in my heart, and I was just like, oh, like, you know. And so that was kind of the back end, that when Aaron came to me with that, I was immediately like, yes, like I've always wanted to do this. And so, yeah. Okay, anyways, moving forward, right before Logan was born, probably about 2 or 3 months before he was born, we got our first foster children. And so when he was born, we had 2 foster kids. So we actually went from having 2 kids to having 5 kids in a matter of a couple months, which was a big change. And it was a lot of little kids because they were all really young, but it was the best time. It was so much fun. Okay, fast forward to a couple of the other kids. So next came in the picture, as far as stayed like in our forever child, was Melinda. And so Melinda and Ariana, I get those two confused on which one came first, and we constantly have that discussion of I'm like, wait, but according to what I calculated, Melinda did come first. So Melinda came in 2012. She came in 2012 too. We'll just put Melinda and Ariana right here next to each other because they both came in 2012, but our ages, so at this point I was 27, or no, when Melinda came, we said we were 26. I was 26 and he was 30 at that point. And again, Ariana came in, I was 27. Yeah. So then after Ariana, it came Tristan. And Tristan, he was also in 2012, but he was like the very end of the year 2012. So when he came in, so real quick, I was trying to do ages and not necessarily a time frame like this. I didn't write those dates on here. I just wrote our ages. But so right here, so Hallie, Max, and Logan were obviously newborns. So that's why I'm putting an NB. Melinda was 17 years old when she came into our house. And the story really quick, because we were kind of scared of teens, I'm not gonna lie, because you hear so many stories, and a lot of times a lot of people in the classes will be like, don't take in teens, they're too hard and they have too much going on. I feel complete opposite now that we've been through it, and we've pretty much fostered every age at this point. I feel like the teens understand more, and I feel like you can sit and have those deeper conversations, and you can explain to them what's going on, and you can have those deeper connections in those ways, where younger kids, like we've had kids that are 2-3 years old and just got ripped away from their family, and they feel like, did this person kidnap me, did this person blah blah, like, and they really act out, and they have all these different things, and it's hard to explain to them and for them to understand. And so it can be more difficult in those ways. But again, you still get those deep connections, and you still, you work through all of that. So originally we were licensed 0 to 7. I know we've told this story before too, but we were licensed 0 to 7 because we were scared of teens. We ended up moving houses.
Before we got Melinda and Ariana, we moved houses from one county to another county. And so in the process of transitioning from one county to another county, our foster license got changed from taking 0 to 7 to 0 to 17.
They put a 1 in front of the 7 when they switched our license over. And all of a sudden we started getting all these calls for teens, and we were like, wait, we're not that far off from our teen years. Like, I don't know. And so, yeah, but obviously it was all meant to be, and God had a hand in that. I truly feel that way. So Melinda was our second teenager that we ever took in, and she was 17. Ariana was 9 when she came into our family. So 17, 9. And then Tristan was 16. Though it was like right before 17. One other thing real quick I want to explain is we had a bunch of other children, the little dots, in the middle of all of this. Everything from newborns to another teen to a 5-year-old to a 6-year-old to a 3-year-old, like, and some of them would stay a day, some of them would stay months. Our longest foster placement at this point, where it was 2 years. We had our very first foster child.
2 years and 3 months.
2 years and 3 months she was with us. I know, I still miss her. I absolutely loved and adored her, and I thought we were gonna get to adopt her, but that's for another story. As we got down this timeline, Aaron and I started taking a lot of parenting classes, and a lot of like understanding trauma, understanding miscues when children come in, especially I feel like in the teenage years, which is why I feel like teenagers get labeled a certain way, because you see a behavior, but it's not actually the behavior that needs correcting or needs, further investigation. Is why is that behavior happening? And so we were getting a lot of miscues and a lot of different things that we were like, okay, what is this behavior attached to? And then going on those deeper levels and trying to figure those out. I know a lot of people are like, oh, do you put everyone in therapy and do you just like figure it out that way? And I wish that it worked like that. And I think Tristan will be fine with me saying this. We put Tristan in therapy, and he sat and stared at the therapist.
It was a game to him. He would see how long he could stay quiet, and he literally went, I think, 3 sessions, and he was completely silent through all 3.
Yeah, he wouldn't talk.
And the therapist was like, he's not really talking or working through anything. I don't know if this is the best fit. So.
Yeah. I will say, like, therapy, I'm huge with therapy. I feel like everyone could use therapy in some type of way because we all go through hard times and go through different things in life. And it's kind of nice to have, a third party that you can talk to and vent to, and they can help you work through your feelings. But unless you're ready to go to therapy, or unless you feel like you're ready to work through things, sometimes therapy, I won't say isn't the best, but sometimes therapy doesn't work in the ways that it should if you're not willing to work through that. And so that is the question we get is, do you put them on therapy? We try to. And by try, we put them in and we kind of see what it works. And we do give, especially because we have, fostered and adopted a lot of older children, we do give them the choice. And we do say, hey, like, this is what therapy is. Like, let's talk it through. What do you think? And I will say we've had kids that are like, absolutely not. Like, I will not go to therapy. I don't want anything to do with that. They've had a bad experience, or they've gone to therapy because the state made them and they felt forced into it and like it wasn't something that was going to help them. But then we've also had those same children 3-4 months in, when they're feeling secure and safe and loved, be like, okay, I'm ready to go to therapy. And then we sign them up at that point. Or everyone's on an individual journey, and I feel like there's no right or wrong answer with any of it, and it's just kind of whenever they feel that they're ready to work through those feelings, like it works out like that. So, okay, sorry, we're getting off track. We weren't trying to do a whole session with that, but okay. So this is, and actually it's kind of funny. So right on this timeline when, Ariana was getting adopted the end of 2012, and Tristan came in, like right in this period, we were like, okay, we're done. Like, we feel like our family is good. Like, we just are, you know what I mean? Like, just coasting through. We were fostering Brody at this point, but I didn't know if he was going to go back to bio parents or going to be adopted. But as we were adopting Ariana, I was like, okay, like, we fostered a bunch of children. We adopted a forever child at this point, and we're like, should we close our license? And real quick, I will put Brody on this timeline right here. So, and Brody was 1 year old when he came into the picture. So he was 1, he was just a little baby. He was, oh my gosh, the cutest kid you'll ever see. Like, the chubby cheeks, great personality, so funny. Like, yeah, I adore Brody.
Insert picture.
Insert beautiful Brody. Okay, so at this point, like I was saying, we're in 2013. Oh my gosh. We're in 2013. We're like, hey, let's be done, And we actually called our caseworker to say, hey, we're going to be closing our license. And the caseworker was like, wait.
Hold that
thought. I'm going to send you an email of a couple of kids. And we were like, okay. And I thought for sure Aaron was going to say no, because we had just had the discussion that our family was good. And that was not the case, because we got an email. And I went and showed Aaron. I was like, look at these kids. And it was actually a sibling set of 4. And when I called the caseworker, they were like, actually, it's a sibling set of 3. The 4th was like a cousin. So it wasn't like a biological sibling. And one of the group home staff that they were in was adopting that child, the cousin. So it was 3. And so at this point, that's when Hannah and Alex came to the picture, and they did have an older sister. However, the older sister did come and live with us for a couple months. And the best way I could describe it is she was a protector. Very much so.
When they were all together and the abuse was happening, she protected them from as much as she possibly could. She took the abuse, she took as much as she could away from them so they didn't experience that. And so when she got into our home and she found them to be in a great place, she didn't know who she was and wanted to find herself and what her individuality looked like. So
And she was 16 at the time.
Yeah. And so she chose not to get adopted at the same time as Hannah and Alex, and she chose not to get adopted at all. And,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. We still talk to her. Her name's Natasha. She's absolutely amazing. She actually has a couple of kids,
Yeah.
and she's sweet. She's actually a surrogate. She's pregnant with a surrogacy baby right now.
Is she really?
I know.
I didn't know
She
that.
headed on that path, which
That's
I think is
awesome.
absolutely amazing. But Hannah was just telling me about that the other day. When Hannah came into our family, she was 9, and Alex was 12.
12. Yeah.
I don't know if you can see my board. It's in my mind keeping it straight. But yeah, so Hannah, was 9. Alex was 12 when they came into our home. And
We got to
absolutely
adopt
amazing from day one.
Brody, Hannah, and Alex all at the same time.
Yes.
It
So
worked out
these
perfectly.
3 ended up getting adopted, even though they weren't siblings, kind of siblings. A lot of people ask, are Hannah and Alex biological siblings? They are not biological siblings. So they got adopted into a home prior to our home, and as like separate, foster placements or whatnot, and got adopted together. But when that home ended up being extremely abusive, they came back into foster care
But
as
were
a
listed
sibling
siblings,
set.
Yeah.
Even though they weren't bio siblings, but they were a sibling set, if that makes any sense. So, okay, so then at this point, I'm like, okay, our family's so good. Like, we're doing great here. And, of course, it never works out like that. Anytime I feel like we say we're done, God's like, wait, there's one more. I don't know, or 2 more. So, anyways, at this point, we get the call about Jamie. And this is kind of the part where a lot of people are like, did you foster Jamie? How does Jamie come in the picture? So Jamie came in the picture at this point. We're running out of room here, but we'll put Jamie up here. Jamie was 23 years old. So we did not know her as a teen. 23 up here. She was 23 and she was pregnant. We did go to Michigan. There's a whole story. We have other vlogs about that you can go look up where we go into the story about that. But so Jamie being 23 was only here for a few months before Aurora came in the picture. So we'll put a little Aurora. We'll put her down here. Aurora.
She was born in 2016.
And she was a newborn. And yeah, we're in 2016 at this point.
So the cool thing was Crystal was pregnant at the same time as Jamie, and the doctors listed them as the same due date. Mm-hmm. Jamie ended up going to labor a little bit early and delivered Aurora, and Aurora had to spend 2 weeks in the NICU after she was born. And by that time, Crystal had gone into labor with her surrogacy baby.
Yeah. And then Aurora got released on the same day, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. We also have a whole story about that. Yeah, details. But at this point, though, and this is kind of where the question comes into play, is Jamie was 23 when she came in, and I was 30. So I had not turned 31 yet. So part of the year we're 7 years apart, and then I guess the other 8. So it's like 7 years and whatever months apart. And so a lot of people are like, you're so close in age. How are you mom-daughter? How does that work? What does that look like? Does it feel weird? No. I can see on paper, I would be like, that's a little odd. But in real life, that's my daughter. And I'm her mom, and I love and adore Jamie more than anything. And she's one of the sweetest people I have ever met. So then, okay, real quick, this one throws me off every time, is Jake. So Jake was 5 years old when he came to us, and he actually came in between, right after Tristan in 2013, but he was the last one adopted. So I always think that he's over here after Hannah and Alex, but no, he's right in there. There's not really room though in the 2013, so we're not going to put him on here, but yeah, that's when Jake came. He was 5. One of my favorite things about Jake is his smile.
He's always had the best smile.
Yeah, he didn't talk a lot when he first came. He was super quiet, but he would just smile at you. And it could brighten any room. It's my absolutely favorite thing about Jake. And he was with us for so long prior to being adopted. It was 3 years and I don't know exactly how many months, but it was over 3 years his case took before we got to adopt him. I feel like our family isn't the traditional family, but I feel like with everything we've experienced with foster care and kids coming in and out and learning and taking classes and parenting and everything, I feel like we had lived a lifetime at this point. Like, I feel like, I don't know. And even though I was only 30 years old when Jamie came into our family, I just felt like, I don't know, she just came in and fit in right away. And I guess I, in my mind, feel like that there's a bigger age gap than it does look on paper. I don't know if that makes any sense. How else would you explain that? Do you feel the same?
I feel the same. So what, Jamie and I have a 12
So you were
year?
34.
So 11-year gap. I do think, and it's not just Jamie, because I feel like with Tristan, he's, the age gap doesn't matter. It really doesn't.
Yeah.
As you get into it, and like Crystal said, as kids were coming in and going out and this, that, and the other, we just picked up so much experience, and it doesn't matter.
I know. It just didn't feel like that. Yeah. When Tristan came in, he was 16 and I was 27. And I felt like, and even Tristan, we were talking about this the other day, which is kind of funny, but he was like, can you imagine where he is right now? He's 29 though right now. So even a couple years younger. And he had someone Jake's age that we were fostering, so it's like that kind of age gap. And he's like, that's so weird to think about, that I could have a 16-year-old. And I'm like, I know, but at the time it didn't feel like that. I don't know. And I think just with everything, I do think that we were prepared, and everything you go through prepares you for something next in life. And I feel like there were certain situations with certain foster kids that we went through that prepared us to be able to parent, a 16-year-old boy, or be able to prepare us to be able to, take in a 23-year-old, or I don't know, just all along the way, it just felt right. I don't know how else to explain it. Okay, so Jamie's in the picture. We actually closed our license. We moved up to St. John's at this point in 2018. We move up to St. John's, close our license, and then Aaron's like, I'm just getting this feeling.
Me and my feelings.
You and your feelings. I'm just kidding. I'm very, very grateful for Aaron's intuition. And I will say that's one thing I love and admire about you is like, you have this intuition with things. And you're usually right, and I usually fight you for a minute because he'll be like, I just feel like we're supposed to do this. And I'm like, are we? And then a few months later, I was like, I have to go to him and be like, you're right, we should have done that, let's do it. I don't know. It's kind of funny, but he's our intuition, and like my grounding in life is truly Aaron. So that's where Lucas and Savannah come in. I'm just going to draw them up here because I don't think you can see down there. Lucas and Sav. So Savannah was 12 when she came into our family, and Lucas was 14. It was actually on Lucas's 14th birthday that they came into the house, and it was right in the middle of COVID. And I can't believe we pulled this off, but I was like, I felt so bad because you couldn't really go into stores, you couldn't really do very much, and we lived in a little small town, and I'm like, I just want to throw this birthday party and get him a birthday present. And I only found out it was his birthday literally like 3 hours before they showed up at our house. So I called the company and I was like, listen, here's my situation. Can you do a bouncy slide? Can we do anything? And they were like, we're on our way. Amazing company. And we ended up having a Fortnite game and different things that we were able to give him that were brand new. And what were you not?
I was just going to say that company did amazing. For what? The time and everything that was going on in the world, and for such last minute notice, they pulled through.
Yeah, amazing.
I wish I remembered the company name off right now, but I don't.
Yeah. Okay. Then we were like, now we're done. That's why people don't trust when we say now we're done, because it's never done. And that's where Bella, Liam, and Rylan came in.
I think I figured out how to describe it, okay? So I do believe the Lord is guiding us through this life, And at this point, the Lord is telling us that we are done, but that may not be the case. The Lord may later on say, you know, this kid needs a forever family. How can you say no to the
You're
Lord?
forever kids. Oh my gosh. Okay, it's looking a little wild on the board. We're just gonna put the board down at this point. Bella was 14, Rylan was 10, and Liam was 9. So Liam and Rylan are a year apart. And we met everybody on Bella's 14th birthday, which is kind of funny because it's the same as Lucas. And then they actually moved into our house on Rylan's 10th birthday. So it was just, there's a lot of birthdays. We have a lot in June.
You didn't say how old we were when Lucas and Savannah came.
Oh, Lucas and Savannah, we were 34 and 38. So, and then when Bella, Liam, and Rylan came in, we were 35 and 39. Right? Yeah, 35 and 39. And then our last and final addition is addition. Yeah, I said that wrong. I said addition. Anyways, is Evie. And Evie came to us when she was 10 years old. And she is now turning 12 in a few weeks. And we were 36 and 40 at that point. I feel like it's not like starting over though and having kids like older, because you're like right in the middle of it. And I don't know. And again, the age gaps and the age thing of everything, a lot of people are just like, yeah, isn't it weird? And I would say our family is very untraditional, but that's what makes it beautiful. And that's what makes it amazing. And our family is built on love and acceptance and everything in it. And so, yeah. All right, well, thank you so much for watching our time frame of our age gaps and where all this age comes into play. All right, really quick, since we filmed that video, because we filmed that a little bit ago, we now have a new daughter. And a lot of people ask her age or how old she is, and she is 15. And I'm 39 now.
I've come up with a nickname.
Oh.
Adele.
Yeah.
I was listening to the radio the other day and some music was playing, and I think it's like perfect.
I like it. Okay, so Adele is 15.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, 39.
43. I had to think for a moment there. I'm like, how old am I?
And you're 8 now. Woo! All right, bye.